I have a challenge for you that will transform your bedtime struggles, build quality connections with your children, and prepare your children for lifelong success, all in only 30 minutes a day. Interested? Through Family Storytime. I know you want to connect with your children in peaceful and meaningful ways. I have a system that can work for any family. It's not hard. All it takes is 30 minutes a day. The last 30 minutes, so it's easy to fit into any schedule. Take the 30 minutes for 30 days challenge and see what the habit of family story time can do for your family. In this video, I'm going to cover why story time, why books, story time for the whole family, picking the right stories, how to structure family story time, and taking up the challenge. I know you're asking, why story time? What's the big deal? Throughout history, humans have spent the end of the day sitting together and sharing stories. After hunting or farming all day, this storytelling tradition around the campfire or fireplace helped pass on the wisdom of one person to all the others and the wisdom of past generations to future ones. Stories are the bedrock of every human culture. We are wired for story. From cave paintings to traditional songs and dances of different cultures to oral traditions and written accounts, humans use stories to communicate with each other, especially with children. So to pass on knowledge, wisdom, and traditions, we need to use the language of our hearts, storytelling. Here's a great quote from Philip Pullman. After nourishment, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Stories communicate ideas and facts so much better than simply listing them out. Stories resonate with children on an emotional level, helping them remember important ideas. For example, you want to let your kids know that when you tell them to go somewhere, they need to go straight there and not wander off somewhere else. You could state this fact to them: go straight there. Will they listen? Maybe, maybe not. What if you tell them the story of Little Red Riding Hood? They are entertained, but they also see the danger of wandering off the path and not going straight to Grandma's house. They could be gobbled up. You can still follow up this story with go straight there, and I bet they will remember the message. Stories are how ideas come alive and take flight. Why books? You might wonder why family story time can't be accomplished by watching TV shows together. While TV and movies are also story-based, I would encourage you to choose book-based story time for many reasons. Number one, books are mentally better for children. The American Academy of Pediatrics states that children who are read to are better prepared to focus their attention and understand how stories work compared to children who primarily engage with screens. 2. Books enhance emotional skills. Research by David Comer-Kidd and Emmanuel Castano showed the power of literary fiction to develop empathy for others. Reading fiction, particularly literary fiction, enhances the reader's ability to understand the emotions and perspectives of others, cultivating empathy more effectively than visual media. Number 3, books build creativity in children. In a recent Substack post by author Mac Barnett and author-illustrator John Klassen, they discussed how amazing children are in bringing so much to the stories they read. Here are a couple of the quotes from Mac Barnett that I loved. Children's stories are often shorter or simpler on their surface than stories for adults, but that's not because kids are simpler creatures. Their stories are allowed to be that way because kids are able to carry more than adults in their relationship with a book. As authors, we can give them just a little bit, and we can trust them to inhabit it and run with it in all the directions we hope for, and many more besides. And this quote, "Picture books are one of the few places where adults and kids can meet as equals, and where sometimes kids unbound by convention and alive to the possibilities of language and art, can show adults how to read. Number 4, reading builds academic and lifelong success. Numerous studies have shown that more reading leads to more success at school, in careers, and in relationships. The more reading a person has done, the more stories are at their disposal for decision making, and the better decisions they are able to make. Here are some interesting quotes from some of these studies. Reading proficiency by 3rd grade is the most important predictor of high school graduation and career success, with early literacy leading to lifelong educational achievement. DJ Hernandez. Children who start reading for pleasure at an early age are exposed to exponentially higher numbers of new words and a greater opportunity to develop literacy skills than children denied early reading experiences. National Endowment for the Arts. Reading has cognitive consequences that extend beyond its immediate task of lifting meaning from a particular passage. Furthermore, these consequences are reciprocal and exponential in nature. Accumulated over time, spiraling either upward or downward, they carry profound implications for the development of a wide range of cognitive capabilities. Anne Cunningham and Keith Stanovich. Story time for the whole family. Many families read aloud to their small children, but continuing this habit as your children get older will create memories and bonds that last a lifetime. The whole family can be involved, picking stories, or as children grow older, taking part in reading aloud. The only time I could convince my son to read aloud to me as he was learning to read was during family story time. To have his bedtime snack, he had to read to me first. This improved his reading and self-confidence in just a few weeks. Reading together creates shared experiences and ideas, leading to family discussions about what you have read. These range from family jokes based on a quote from a book — we have so many of these at our house — to more serious discussions of topics like death, courage, and fairness. By reading books together, you have a groundwork for discussing these ideas, which is difficult without that shared experience. Another benefit to reading aloud to older children is reading books above their current reading level. This will expose them to more difficult words, which expands their vocabulary and prepares them to read with more understanding as they grow older. Reading together also gives us a safe environment for learning to share our emotions with one another. By piggybacking off the emotions of a character in a story, we can learn how to share what we are feeling with our children and vice versa. Spending time together as a family in any activity is beneficial. Building bonds of friendship, trust, and love. Reading aloud before bedtime is a safe, peaceful activity that is true quality time together. How to pick the right stories. Since stories are so powerful, as parents, one of the most important gifts we can give our children is giving them the best stories. What kind of stories? Well, in Philippians 4:8, there is a great list. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Just as feeding children vegetables helps their bodies stay healthy and grow, feeding children good stories will help their spirits stay healthy and their character grow. The opposite is also true. Stories can be damaging and harmful if too many of the wrong kind are told. In our home, I let my children pick books at the library and we read them together. Sometimes we read a story that I disagree with. When that happens, I tell my children why I dislike the story. There are good stories and bad stories, and finding a bad one isn't the end of the world. It opens the door for me to tell my children that not every story is a good story. When they learn this, it will help them think to themselves, is this a good story? And after hearing many good stories, they will have a better judgment for their solo reading. If you need a little help, try reading one of the books found in my video, Best Family Read Aloud Books for Every Age. As Neil Gaiman says in Coraline, Fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. Communicating your family values can become fun for everyone. It is a joy to read a Bible story from a great children's Bible or a chapter of the Bible together as your children grow older. There are also many wonderful picture books and novels you could read aloud to teach your children important values such as honesty, integrity, courage, and forgiveness. Reading aloud together for just 30 minutes before bed can strengthen these ideas and encourage discussions about these important values. As C.S. Lewis says, since it is so likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. Otherwise, you are making their destiny not brighter, but darker. How to structure family story time. We've covered the history, the reasons for reading together as a family, the benefits, but let's get to the nitty-gritty. How do you set up a successful story time? At its most basic, you pick a book, sit down together, and read out loud. I do have some tips to help you get going though. I also want to encourage you, even though I started this at birth with my kids, I have also fostered children, and even older children will love this routine after they get used to it. In fact, if we ever have a day when we can't get to our family story time because of other obligations, the kids are heartbroken. It becomes everyone's favorite time of the day. Here's the structure we use in our home. Step 1, bath time or showers. This helps everyone be clean, relaxed, and settle down from the day. Step 2, put on your comfy PJs. Grown-ups can wear them too, even if it's only 6:30 p.m. I know I do. Step 3, bedtime snacks. Eating a snack at book time helps curb wiggles and complaining. We love apple slices as a healthy and easy bedtime snack. Step 4, pick a story. Let your child pick the book. If you have more than one child, they each get a story, if they are picture books. If it's a chapter book, I like to offer suggestions that appeal to everyone. Step 5, sit together and read. Children can look at the pictures for a picture book, eat their snacks, color a picture, work on a puzzle, or play with a toy quietly during this time. By allowing children to do something with their fingers while the book is being read, they can sit and relax for a longer time. Step 6, finish your bedtime routine. Brush your teeth, tuck them into bed, say the prayers, sing lullabies. I also have some bonus tips. Allowing your children to pick their own story doesn't mean you don't have input. You can vet the books first. The key is allowing them to choose from your pile so that they will be more invested in the book. Family story time is not limited to picture books. Older kids love hearing books read aloud. Read a chapter a day. If you struggle with reading aloud, listening to audiobooks together as a family is great too. Remember also that the more you practice reading aloud, the better you will become. Keep your books rotating by visiting the library as a family. Browse some quality book lists for reading ideas. Remember, if you are just starting this habit, new routines take time to get set. It will probably be a struggle for the first week or so. If you don't get 30 minutes a day as you start, it's okay. 10 minutes is better than 0. Anything is better than nothing. Take your time and get into the routine, and before you know it, you will have a new habit. Take up the challenge. I want to challenge you to do a family story time for 30 days. To get you started, I have a list of great read aloud books for every age. Pick from the list or visit the library and pick your own favorites. Make sure to have extra books available so you don't run out before you finish the whole 30 days. Leave a comment below and let me know. I'll be cheering for you. To find more book ideas by age, watch my video, Best Family Read Aloud Books Complete Guide by Age. And I want to leave you with part of a wonderful poem, The Reading Mother by Strickland Gilliland. I had a mother who read me the things that wholesome life to the boy heart brings, stories that stir with an upward touch. Oh, that each mother of boys were such. You may have the tangible wealth untold, caskets of jewels and coffers of gold. Richer than I you can never be. I had a mother who read to me. I'm Charlotte Glaze, building up families with books.